Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Getting Started. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to open and close your violin case. This is my violin case that I use primarily for my main instrument. It's a gewa, and it's a fairly modern and lightweight case. It is pretty protective, and it's the case I use every day. Okay, so this case has two latches, one here and one here. A lot of cases may have two latches. Some of them have zippers, and other designs, we'll go through some other designs that I have for some other cases here, but I just unlatch it and I just open it up. It's very simple. It just has some clasps in the back and it opens very easily. And inside is my violin and my bow. And my violin is strapped in with a velcro strap around the neck, so I can unstrap that, and then there's my violin. It rests in this soft case right here, and when I put it back in, I just make sure that that strap is back around the neck so that it doesn't bounce around and move around too much in there. I also keep my shoulder rest underneath the neck of my violin. Some cases will allow you to do that. Not all cases will have space for that. You have to kind of figure out what your case is best designed for. I have this compartment in my case right here, and I keep rosin in here. So this is my minimalist rosin, and I keep a tool for adjusting a chin rest, and I keep some peg compound, and I keep a spare set of strings. So I keep those things in this little compartment. Some cases have an extra compartment here too. Some have other features like multiple bow slots. Mine has two, and I don't even really use two. I just use one. This is my bow, and if you look here, you'll see that there is a locking mechanism to hold the bow in place. So I just twist this and it sort of snaps into position, and it could be either like this where it's going to hold the bow in place, or I can turn it one way or the other, and then now that allows it to freely slide out. So this is important when I'm taking my bow out or when I'm putting my bow back in the case. I want to make sure that I leave it locked when I'm putting it away so it doesn't fall out, versus when I want to take it out, I slide this over, and I also make sure I'm careful when I'm taking it out that I slide this out on this end of the slot here. I don't want to try to pull it. I don't want to pull the wood, and I don't want to pull the case like this. I want to slide it out carefully. I also don't want to close the case when my bow latch is not secure, so otherwise it will fall, and then my bow will be loose, rattling around in the case, and it can scratch the violin, and that wouldn't be good. So I don't want to have that rattling around in there. So I always, when I close the case and I put my bow away, I slide it in here, and then I latch it so that it's in the closed position. And then I make sure that the neck is strapped in securely in the violin, and I close it like this. And I latch both sides carefully, and I'm good to go. Okay, next I have a smaller violin. This is a fractional size violin. It's a quarter sized violin. So the case is a little different. This has a Velcro flap that comes down and attaches to the bottom part of the case, and then under that is a pair of zippers that go in opposite directions. So I'm going to zip them all the way to the end, all the way around, and they go all the way around to the back, and that's all I need to be able to open it up. Now, inside here you have a very similar bow mechanism where this opens and closes so that I can take the bow out and it will secure the bow in there. And when I'm putting it away, I want to make sure that that's in the closed position. And also very similarly, I have a Velcro strap around the neck, holding the instrument securely in the case. And I also similarly have a small little pocket or little area here with a little door that opens up, and I can put rosin or other accessories I might need in there, like a tuner, etc. So this is very simple. It's very utilitarian. This is a pretty inexpensive student case. And you can see this end here does not have the mechanism that holds the bow in here. So this is pretty much holding the bow, and which is not ideal, but it'll be probably good enough for this student instrument. Now, you will also see that this case is a bit smaller, so if I close it all the way up and latch it, you can see it has a slightly different shape, so they're not all shaped the same. This also has a pocket on the top for me to put various things, like there's a shoulder rest, like a sort of old school shoulder rest in here, and you can put other stuff in there, maybe like a notebook. It's a little small for music, but you could put some things in there. So this is a pretty inexpensive, smaller sized student violin case. Okay, this case is kind of interesting. I thought I would just show the demonstration of this case. This is an older case. This is kind of an old style, and has this kind of alligator skin or faux alligator skin on it. And it's shaped kind of in the shape of the violin. And this has an interesting latch system. So it has one of these sliding latches, which will pop open the latch here if I slide it open. So there's kind of like a thumb slider that pops it open. There's a little keyhole in there, but to my knowledge, I've never been able to actually lock these. I don't know if there's an actual locking mechanism. They never locked in my experience. But so you want to make sure that that's popped open, and then it has usually two latches, usually one on either side, and those are just more traditional latches that fold down, and then you're able to open it up, and inside you have this kind of old velvet style, which is kind of nice. It's kind of the vintage case look, and some people like that. If you have an older instrument, you might have that, or you might prefer that kind of a look or style. So in this case, I don't have any kind of strap holding down the neck. So this is more form-fitting, and it kind of keeps it in place because of the snug kind of tension that it holds it in the space in the case. Then you can kind of see it's worn here because of that tension on the bridge. Just kind of holding it there, rubbing it over years and years and years. So then you can easily take the violin out because there's no strap there. And then in this case, I have a pocket door here with a little compartment that I can keep accessories. And then this also has a smaller pocket in here, which I can keep accessories as well. What's kind of cool about this little pocket is there actually is a key for this little lock here, and so you might be able to figure out if this is actually lockable if you have one of those with the key. So it's kind of cool that the key is there. So I don't have as much space maybe for a shoulder rest in a case like this, but if I have like a gig bag or something else, I could put it in there. These also have a different way of holding the bow. This is kind of the old school bow slot here. So it slides into the slot here. There's actually two slots in this part, and the bow goes in there. The tip of the bow goes in there. That's important for me. I always make sure the tip goes there, and then the frog fits perfectly in this slot here. This is really snug on the frog, and it's kind of spring. It's held with a spring tension here, so that holds the frog on this side. And so you can hold, 2 bows in here if you wanted, or if you had them. And that just slides snugly right there. And to close it, I just go like this and make sure that this latch, and then that this are all closed. And I'm ready to go with my violin case. Okay, this is an older style, more rectangular, kind of oblong case. And I just wanted to show as an example of something different here. This has buttons that would be magnetized. They aren't the most effective now, but I've had this case for a long time. And this is a very sturdy case. It's kind of heavy and a little bit outdated, but it's very sturdy and protective. It has velcro over the main latch here, and it also has zippers, 2 zippers that meet in the middle. So when it's closed, they're in the middle. I can go around on either side with the zippers. And one of the things that's kind of interesting is I also have a set of zippers up here, which is for the top compartment. It's like a storage sleeve, which actually takes up the whole entire segment of the whole length and size of the top of the case. So you can put music in there. This is big enough where you actually could put music in here, and I've done that many times with this case. But you don't want to confuse these zippers for the zippers that open the case. If you go like this and then you think, oh, I should be able to get in. Oh, where's the violin? Well, that's because those zippers don't actually open the case. They just open the compartment above where you store things. So after I had the zippers on the sides here all the way back, I then have this latch which has 2 mechanisms on the side that I push in to release the latch like that. And so that releases this part of the latch, and then I can open the case. So in this case, I have a few more bells and whistles and things. This is an old case and it's a little bit not in the best shape, but I'll show you what this case does and how it works. It has the same rotating bow lock mechanism, so I can take my bow out this way by making sure this is in the open position, and I slide the tip out from here, which this has slots in it for bows to go in here. There are slots for 4 bows, so I could have up to 4 bows in this case. There used to be a hygrometer right here, which would tell me the humidity level of the room that I was in or of the case. This also had a string tube that went right here, so it's a tube that you store strings in so that they're not all wound up, but they have a chance to straighten out if you put them in the string tube. And this, of course, does have the Velcro over the neck of the violin, which helps to secure it. So I can take my violin out very easily once I take it out of the Velcro. And then this case has a compartment here that is a little bit larger because this is a larger case. And then I also have a compartment here as well for storing some things. So this is a pretty good amount of storage. This is a very sturdy case, and it's pretty, it's pretty luxurious. There are like 4 bow compartments. There are 2 storage compartments. It's pretty roomy and it's pretty soft. This is kind of like a suede and kind of like a velvet in the inside. This is just cushioning to protect this so it doesn't move around too much. But it's very heavy. It's a heavy case compared to the first case that I showed you. So there are benefits to this. They're both probably about as equally as protective, but The other one's lighter, doesn't have as many bow slots and a little bit less storage, whereas this one has more storage, more bow slots, but it's a little heavier. So when I want to close it, the first thing I want to do is make sure this is latching. And sometimes you have to make sure, you have to be careful to make sure that this actually latches and that both of the teeth are coming down and engaging in the latch mechanism. So you want to make sure, that's the thing about these types of latches. They can be a little finicky, but once you get the hang of them, they're not too bad. So once that's latched, I make sure it's zipped up like this on each side, and then I put the Velcro down like that. And grab the handle, and I can take my violin with me. Okay, so that's a demonstration of a few different violin cases. There are a lot of different violin cases out there. This is not a review of cases. I'm not trying to say you should get this case or you should get that case. There are a lot of different styles and brands of cases, and I leave that up to you, or maybe for a future video. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about just how they work, what they're supposed to do. You know, they're really supposed to protect the instrument and the bow, and that's really the main objective of a case. You know, I'll say there are also a lot of straps that come with cases, or that you can attach to cases. Like, there are little latches and points all over the case, usually where you could attach a strap. I would say just be really careful with straps. Make sure, make sure it's not a cheap material. I've had so many straps break on me with my violins and my violin cases, and that's really not very cool when that happens. You don't want to be carrying around, especially if it's an expensive instrument, you don't want to be carrying it around and then a strap breaks and then your violin goes crashing down. So that's why none of these cases have straps. I have lost faith in straps personally, and that's not to say you should or shouldn't. That's just me personally. But that's another thing I would point out. Something else that I like to point out too is that I keep a little cloth in my case. So I keep just a little cloth for cleaning my instrument tucked in my case as well. That's something that you might have, or you might want to have with your violin. Some cases come with like a little blanket padding sort of cloth that goes over the violin, and those are fine. You know, that's a good thing to have. That just adds a little bit of protection and maybe insulation if it's cold or hot. So that's good. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you for the next episode.